Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Julia and I find that it's finally time to film a monthly or rather seasonally wrap-up of all the books that I read in January and February. But before I actually begin, I want to say sorry for my slightly husky voice. It is so because of the fact that I'm slightly off color, but I'm still able to talk, and so I will talk to you about books. There were only 4 books that I read over those 2 months, 2 in January and 2 in February. March has already been more productive than those 2 months, but I still think that two books in January and February of the last school year is really great and way better than 1 book or 0 books. And so we're beginning with A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I have this absolutely gorgeous edition, and I read it, I think I started it back in 2023 and finished it in like the first days of January. It's no need to retell the story, everyone knows it, and I had been meaning to read it for ages until I finally picked it up in late December. It was extremely beautiful, though at times on the verge of being scary, wholesome for sure, and just a great pastime for the Christmas season. And the second book that I read in January was also Christmas themed. This time it was The Nutcracker. I have a Russian translation of it. The edition is, well, not my favorite one, but it's definitely nice, and I like the paper. Anyways, as for The Nutcracker, yet again, there's no need to retell the plot, but I must say that it is a great discovery, because when I was younger, I used to act a little bit tough-nosed about Hoffman and this book in particular. But now that I actually decided to read it, I really liked it. It was reminiscent of childhood. It's made me want to see the ballet again, and I think there also was this intrinsic wholesomeness that only children's books generally have. In no adult book can you find such peace, solace, and sweetness. Having said that, we're moving on to February. The first book that I read in February was actually a short story, The Twins by Moelle, which was required reading for my English literature classes at school. In this short story, a narrator collects herself visiting a friend of hers and her friend's family at the time when this friend had 5-year-old twins, and then during the second visit they're already 12, and well, basically there are some eerie coincidences and occurrences. It remembers me slightly of The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, in terms of having the children who are seemingly angelic, yet there is something deeply sinister about them. Actually, the fact that there's something sinister about them we only learn at the very end, I think on the last page of the story, and before that I wasn't even getting what was the whole point. Still, it was enjoyable, and I want to note that the writing style of Moelle is amazing. It is very easy to get through the text, especially if we compare it to The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. Well, Henry James is notorious for his heavy turn of phrase. And the last book of February, which is hands down favorite of this year so far, is Moelle by Anne Gaëlle Huron. I have it in Russian translation too. Well, I think that most of the books that I read nowadays are in Russian and not in English, just because it takes less effort, I think. Like, I really love reading in English, but since English isn't my mother tongue, I just read a little bit more slowly, and it takes a little bit more concentration to get through the book, and so, well, Russian is the go-to choice now. This novel is set in the 1920s France, in a small town on the border, on the Spanish border. A girl comes from Spain to get a temporary job, and eventually she stays in the town. Like, a series of events lead her on to stay in that town. Sometime later she will open her own factory, venturing into business, and she also is a beholder of a family story unfolding, and I think that this family story is the most important part of the book, because despite the fact that it is not heavy read, it still brings up some important questions, such as like the right of person to know the truth, and, well, the right of other person not to tell the whole truth. And it's also quite elaborates on mother-daughter relationships, because we have several pairs of mothers and daughters. All of them have their strengths and their faults, and all of them are just women. I think the best description of that book is that it is by women, by a woman for women and about women. It gave me immense pleasure, and I think it is best compared with sparkling wine. I must acknowledge that I'm not the originator of this brilliant comparison. It is given on the blurb of the book, but it is pretty accurate. No, it is as light and fun as sparkling wine, but at the same time there is something deeper and more exquisite to it, as well as to good sparkling wine. This brings me to the end of this short review. Hopefully my March wrap-up will be a little bit longer, and I thank you for watching this video. Hope that you have enjoyed it, and if you want to see me again talking about books, or not only books, please subscribe to my channel, Julia Caesar. And bye!